Hey everyone. Hope you are surviving Maysember. Happy Maysember to all who celebrate. Um, I needed to record an intro to this episode because my guest is incredible. We once we start talking, we just never stop. So that's my favorite conversation, but it doesn't give you much context as a listener. So today I'm sitting down with Desiree Horner, the woman behind Painted Pancake Studio. She is proof that creativity is not something you're born with, and it's something you show up for, even when your hair is a mess and your clothes have paint on them, and maybe your giant dog just walked through a puddle of pink paint. So, before I bring Desiree on, I have to tell you a little bit about her because she's just someone who has been quietly building something really special for a long time, and I think you're going to love her. I know that I did. Desiree is the creator behind Painted Pancake Studio, and no, she does not paint pancakes. The name came from her love for breakfast food and wanting something weird enough that you wouldn't forget. So, mission accomplished there. She's been running the studio since 2017, starting with an Etsy shop, painted ornaments, furniture flips, canvas work, truly you name it. But what she's most known for right now is foam board yard art. And while that is a mouthful, I will tell you, if you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing immediately and go find her on TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, because it's truly unreal what this woman creates out of foam board paint and what I can only describe as a very specific type of genius. She's built a Facebook following of nearly 60,000 people with over 10,000 actively engaged in her content at any given time. And I can tell you now, it's probably way higher than that. She's gone viral and she's had millions of eyes on her work and just is still this incredibly grounded, generous creator who answers comments over breakfast and doesn't gatekeep a single thing. She's also a mom of three daughters, a Texas girl through and through, and shares her studio with a giant dog who has, on at least one documented occasion, walked through pink paint, left paw prints across the entire downstairs. And so we know that she's our kind of people. One more thing before we get into it. This episode was recorded just before Mother's Day, and I have to share this because it's too good. A mom at my school, in my school group chat, sent me a screenshot of Desiree's brick painting tutorial saying that she was making it for her mom right before Mother's Day. And I looked at it and I thought, no way. I'm literally interviewing this woman tomorrow, and she had no idea that we were associated. So if this is not a sign that this episode was meant to happen, I don't know what is. Fair warning, like I said, that this conversation doesn't have a formal lead in. We just started talking and never stopped. And I had a whole list of questions prepared, and we got to maybe half of them because that's just what happens when your conversation is that good. So know that you're jumping right in where we did. And I think you're just going to feel like you're right there at the table with us. And I'll say this, there's about maybe 10 questions I never got to ask her, and they're still sitting in my notes. So this may not be the last time you hear from me, Desiree, on this podcast. I'm just saying. All right. Without further ado, Desiree Horner from the Painted Pancake Studio. Enjoy.
My youngest one is a kindergarten, this year, and so she's at school until,
Okay.
like, 3 o'clock. So I'm home alone. I thrive on the alone time, and I have another one that's a senior this year, so she's also at school.
Wow, what a gap.
A
Okay.
kindergarten and senior, and then I have a 20-year-old as well, so but she's moved out.
Wow. Okay, okay.
Yes,
That's
but yeah, I
cool.
get a I get a lot of alone time, which I really love,
Yeah,
and I thought about it earlier today. I was like, I feel like with summer coming up, it's kind of like when I worked corporate, it was like the Sunday scaries. I'm
yeah.
feeling scaries about her being home all day with me in the summer.
I
I
feel
love
that
her.
so deeply.
I love her, but I like my alone time.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
yes, we'll be
Yeah,
busy doing a lot of fun things, but not I won't be getting a lot of work done.
feel that so deeply. So I also I have 3, 11, 9, and 4. A
Okay.
little bit of a gap, but not as much of a gap as you have. I'm so
Yeah.
interested in that too. But yeah, I mean, I'm always so optimistic about their breaks. And then the break happens. I'm like, oh, it's going to be so easy. They're so much older now. They're self sufficient. And then I can do my work in my office and they'll be okay. And then it's like instant mom guilt. And are they like, no, they are not self-sufficient. They can get themselves food and they can watch TV, but, like, you're not gonna be little bums on the couch all
Exactly.
well, I'm, like,
Yeah.
looking at summer and they're like, "Why do we have to sign up for camps?" Like, you don't have to. You get to. What a
Right,
privilege, but at
right.
the same time, like, I can't have you home every single day.
Nope. I was looking into that too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, okay, how much money do we want to spend on them being somewhere else?
it's
Is
so
it
much.
going be so much?
Costs so
It's
much.
just yeah,
I
yeah,
think we're gonna spend the money and just do, like, water park season passes, which, it's we gotta go together, obviously, but we'll
yeah,
have fun. We'll
yeah,
spend the money on that instead, but it'll be
yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah, and hopefully it's safe enough where, like, you can work on reels or something while she's going on a slide or
The lawn chairs around while the parents can just watch safely and then play in the little water playground, so that's
exactly,
where
or
you'll
maybe her
find.
siblings.
Yeah. Yeah, if my husband comes, it's them 2 together, and, I'll be right here. Uh,
I'll be, sipping on a cold drink and enjoying the sunshine.
that's how I've been doing it lately. Yeah, we just went on a cruise a few weeks ago, and my husband and her were just 2 buddies just doing everything, and I was like, "I am
Aw.
reading my book right here. Y'all
Good
have
for
fun."
you. Okay, I noticed that when I was, doing my research, AKA stalking, but I was looking through and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love to read too." And then I saw you read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe series, and I was like, "Oh, we have to talk about that."
I'm so
Be
excited to have someone to talk about that with. I just got the newest one just came in the mail, like, 2 days ago, but I'm making myself finish my other book, and so I have the latest one, and
yeah.
I can't wait to read it.
Okay, remind me of the latest one. What is that one?
It is the Daisy Chain Flower Shop.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I had the hardest time listening to it,
Uh-huh,
because, like, when I was listening, the only one I'd have started was the pumpkin spice. I did that in the fall, and then
uh-huh.
I was gonna do gingerbread, and I didn't do gingerbread yet. So, I have read a lot of other different spicy books, but this one was I had the hardest time listening to it because it was, like, an older narrator, and I was like, "This is so weird." It doesn't I don't feel like I'm that
Yeah,
age. I don't
yeah,
feel like the main character is
yeah.
that age, like, they must have negotiated some kind of deal for her to narrate all
Well, the pumpkin spice one was her first book, I think, so
Yeah,
I don't think she maybe had the funds to do maybe a better narrator because that will definitely
yeah,
kill the really fast. I read them out of order. I didn't know it
okay,
was a series, and then someone I posted about it, and someone was like, "Oh, don't judge it on the pumpkin spice," and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna leave that for last then," because I think my favorite so far was the gingerbread one. That one
okay,
is my favorite storyline, and they're all so very, like, I guess the different couples have different sexual taste, and
yeah.
so that that one I liked the most. Some of them were kinda like, not
Uh-huh.
vibing, but I like the gingerbread one, so it's fun to talk about that.
Yeah. Have you ever read, do you like Sarah Adams, her Rome, Kentucky series?
I'm not familiar with that one. I really started only I made a resolution this year to start reading more, and because
Yeah,
I so much, I said I'm gonna read. I like paper books, but I
yeah,
have started listening to audiobooks this year is new for me too. So I would
yeah,
be a reader, pick up one here and there every few
yeah.
months, but I'm gonna read one at least every single month. And now I'm
Yeah.
down to one a week that I can
Good
knock
for
out.
you.
So
Well,
happy
that's great.
that it's really just has kept me engaged, and I take the time, I put my phone on do not disturb, I stop answering stuff, and just have my reading time.
Yeah. I was in a real, like, funk for the longest time with reading because then and I realized it's because I was only reading self-help books, parenting books, and I hated it. I felt so bad about myself afterwards. I didn't wanna pick up the book, and for good reason. There's just too much noise. It's like besides me scrolling and reading and everything that we have to take in and judgment and overall, it's like, of course I don't wanna read. So then I had
Yeah.
a friend recommend, Midnight Library to me, which was really good. It's about this guy who is or this girl who essentially tries like, she opens these books, and it's different versions of her life. Um, or her I don't know actually if it was a guy. Anyway, the point is I really enjoyed that book and then started reading. My neighbor was a really big reader, and she started recommending different series to me. She's a romance reader. So then that's where the Sarah Adams series came in. She's so good. I got to actually like see her in person at one of her readings for her
Oh,
last of that series. So
uh-huh.
I highly recommend, but she's a really great. And then there's a lot of other ones. But then I started getting into reading because I was like, I have 3 school-age kids who need to see me reading, and I don't want them looking over my shoulder on my phone at these reels that I'm watching, which are very funny for the most part. And I do save a lot of them. Like, I saved your reels and, to show them, like, "Look at these cool projects she does, like, look at this artist, and she's, like, doing these amazing things with these different mediums," and I try to expose them to that kinda stuff. Um and like funny animals and stuff. But I'm sure like it's really hard to be on the internet in 2026 and seeing adult content. And then you've got children who are maybe catching a peep of it or want to be included. Of course, they hear like silly sounds or music or whatever. And so I just was
My
like,
little
I
one,
need to sit and read. Yeah.
I'll videotape her just, not for the internet. I'm just making a thing. And she's like, "Oh, how many views are you gonna get for this?" And I'm like, "Oh, no." And
No.
she's been a part of some of mine because she's funny.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm like, "Don't value yourself with view counts or likes and stuff." But I just hate that she knows that. But
Yes.
she's my most outgoing one. My other ones are very
Yeah.
introverted, stranger danger, but not this one. She is so outgoing, so beyond her years. She is wild.
Yeah. The third one is a different breed, right?
It's a whole different generation. I mean, the gap between them, they are just completely different people, but completely different generations. And for us in my neighborhood, she's 6, and I kept waiting for my older ones. When will I feel comfortable just letting them go outside with their friends and, like, run
Yeah.
the streets and ride
Yeah.
their bikes? I never got to that point with my older ones, and it just wasn't their personality. This one, I don't see her for 3 hours when she gets home because we are fortunate enough to just have great neighbors who I know, and they just house hop or they ride their
Hmm.
bikes, and everyone's kind of just keeping an eye on them, taking turns being
Hmm.
outside. I'll read in the garage while just, watching them.
Yeah.
But she's still an iPad kid a little bit, in the
Sure.
evening stuff. But other than that, she's outside running around with friends for hours. And I love that they're back to
Yeah.
that. I
Oh,
love
I know.
there's of them out there.
I know. It's like such a taste of the 90s, like the childhood that we grew up with where it was just like we could go outside, we didn't worry about not being safe. We were with our friends. It was okay. We had our community. We did childhood things and it wasn't always screens. There was like TV and stuff, but it was mainly that I want to be with my friends. And we have a very similar cul-de-sac where our kids will go outside and play and it's basketball and hockey and you know, coloring with chalk and making up forts and all kinds of stuff where I'm like, "Oh, this is amazing." And yeah, I'll take my book outside too while they're doing that and, just kind of sit and be present as like one of the adults. We take turns, but it's not necessarily hovering.
Exactly, yes, I'm like, I
Yeah.
let their thing, but, I know they're getting snacks at somebody's house, so then I'll be the snack house, and we just all naturally just take turns, and I'm loving how it's working out right now.
Mhm. Does she go to preschool?
She was in daycare pretty much full time after she was born 3 months before COVID hit. So she was
Yeah.
born at the end of 2019, and so when my maternity leave was up, I was supposed to go back to work, everything shut down, and so I stayed home with her for the first 14 months just because daycares, they weren't even open. Um, and then I went back to work, but I did a lot of remote work, but every time she was at school, they would have to shut down for 2 weeks because someone got COVID.
I know.
And would be on the couch for 2 weeks at a time while I'm trying to work, and I don't know how they expect you to do both because she's 2 and she can't
Yeah.
watch TV all day long, so it was such a struggle, but she was in daycare, until she was 4 and she broke her leg, And at that time, my older daughter was going through some medical things. I was
Yeah.
working full time. My husband travels for work. She broke her leg, a monkey bar accident. And I just said, this is too much. Like, we've got therapy appointments, doctor's appointments, other appointments for my daughter. I said, I'm
Yeah.
juggling work. I'm doing this by myself. I was done. And I told my
Yeah.
husband, no, I'm not expecting anything from you at this point, but I will figure it out. I will figure
Yeah.
it out one way or another. So I quit my job, and that was 18 months ago, almost 2 years ago. And so I
Wow.
so close to kindergarten. I'm gonna stay home. We'll recover. I'll figure it out once she goes to kindergarten. And now we're almost done with kindergarten. So and I have not.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to go back at this point.
Good for you.
The older 2, I stayed working full time. They were the last ones to get picked up at daycare, mom guilt all
Oh.
the time. Of course, they turned out just fine, but I'm like, with this one, that's what I was like, I want to be home more. I want to be present. I know they're sick all the time. They have all these holidays
Mhm.
from school. I'm not going to be the default parent to have to take off and make up work and be stressed about it
Mhm.
all the time. So, that was the conversation I kind of had with my husband, and,
Yeah.
we've been making it work since then, and I know she's our last one, and
Yeah.
so nice to just pick her up when she's off of school and hear about her day and not be rushing to figure out what's
Mhm.
for dinner and not have any time together, so
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
that's been
I
really
feel
nice.
that. I would love to eventually quit corporate and just be my own boss, do whatever I can do. And that's how kind of I started my podcast. Is just like I have such a heart for working moms because I've been through that with my 3 and putting them in daycare when they're 8 weeks old and feeling guilty because I'm
Mhm.
driving through traffic frantically trying to get back, sometimes pumping while I'm driving through traffic to get my baby. And I just think like, man, that is so much of the invisible part of motherhood that is so lonely and so, like, isolating in some ways, and then there's so much beauty about it and so much community and support and understanding, and I thought, like, I'm just gonna talk to real working moms and just have like this kinda conversation where it makes you feel, like, less lonely, and
Mhm.
you can tune into something while you're pumping or late night at, late night rocking a sick baby or in between meetings or you're going through your inbox, whatever, but yeah,
I was so
um,
excited to have my baby and be home with her that first year thinking, "Oh, these older kids are gonna go back to school in a few more weeks," and everybody I was then with infant and teaching middle school kids during her nap, helping them with their homework, and, my husband was home working a lot as well, so we were just all home together, and I was
ugh,
like, "It's not what I had in mind, but we'll make it work,"
yes,
so it was
something's gotta give.
yeah, my most recent job, though, that I left 18 months ago, that one I worked at the college where I went to school, and I was an
Okay.
accountant there, and I was there for about 2 years, and not one person in my direct office, which there's about 10 of us in that department, I was the only one with children.
Yeah.
Nobody else had kids, and they were very, accommodating and nice, and I can't say anything bad, but it's just if you're not a mother, you just don't get
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And so, like I said, they're always, "Hey, you got family things going on." They're very accommodating, can't say anything bad about that, but it's
Mhm.
just even it being close to home, I had a couple of work from home days.
Mhm.
It was 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Everything was
Mhm.
great on paper. Everything was great on paper. I really had it made, and
Mhm.
I still hated it
Yep.
because one to answer to. I had to ask permission to take time off of work, to
Mhm.
get my kids, meet up with my husband, be back within an hour from lunch, and again, just the family time was the
Yeah.
biggest that I was missing out on. And even though close by, I still had to drive my daughter all the way to daycare, pass my house and go to work, and do the same thing
Mhm.
as soon as I got off. And I'm
Mhm.
like, by the time you're dropping them off, picking them up, chit-chatting with their teacher, and then coming back home, that's like an hour in
Mhm.
the beginning and end of your shift. So my husband's like, "Well, I work all this overtime and stuff." And I'm like, "Well, you get paid for that. Me Me getting kids where they need to be, I don't get paid for that windshield
Uh-huh.
time. I don't get paid for that, but I'm still working. That's me working to get to work.
Yep.
So, it's like,
Yeah.
I will tell them the truth all the time, and so
Yeah.
I
I
just had
love
to learn
that.
I just had to learn to be it sounds mean and I sound like a diva sometimes, but I learned that I had to be that way because for so long I was doing it just the grind. And I've been there and I've done that. I've lived both lives. I've been a full-time corporate mom, handling the kids, juggling everything. And I want to say that I can do it all by myself and feel that validation and succeed. But then I just learned that I don't have to. I don't have to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a single, married parent
Yep.
and be the default parent. I'm going to let my husband step up. I'm going to let him provide for us, be the default financial person, and
Yep.
be okay with that. So,
Yes. Yes. I love that. And I think that shift is happening in our culture right now, and it's really powerful. And I think it's also very brave and courageous for both a husband and a wife or your partner, whoever, to sit down and have a very honest and frank conversation about that because it can be really scary. Because the fact of the matter is, like, society tells us as women, we have to work. If you are in that financial position, you have to work and you have to be the default for everything. Sick days, like you were saying, taking them to school, whatever. And my husband and I had some very similar conversations where it's been like, no, you need to take them in the morning because I am now working East Coast hours, which means I'm up at 6 a.m. I immediately open my inbox and we either like split the responsibility and I'm taking the little one to preschool and you're taking the big ones to elementary school, or one of us does both and so we can get quality work in, and then I am done at 2:30 so that I can do, like you're saying, completely shut off and be with my kids because that is what I value. And
yes.
having the conversations of, this is what the mental load is and this is what I'm carrying, and and I need you to step up and take these things, and it's not always received well on both sides. I'll be honest, because I don't always say like, yes, that's right, I am falling short in this area, but having those hard conversations is so life-giving long term because it allows everybody to get a taste of what they want, right? Your kids want more time with you because you're mom, and it will always be default mom. They're wanting mom, but then you need dad to be able to support that, right? So the sacrifice then is made where you leave your job and the stability and the comfort of that, and he picks up elsewhere, and then you have a mutual understanding of who's doing what and when, and it's then you're able to pursue other things like your amazing work that you do with your art, which I love. So, did you have the painted pancake? Did you have that? Tell me more about that. Like, is that what came from this shift of 18 months ago, like, I'm out, or was that before that you've been doing this?
My Painted Pancake Studio officially for close to 10 years now, but it's always just
Wow.
been kind of a side gig that I do that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I've always just been crafty and just doing that on my own time. And it was a friend of mine that I worked with 10 years ago that encouraged me to open up an Etsy shop and just go for it. And I was really just doing any and everything, just, girly stuff that we find one craft hyper fixated on that. I've done everything from hand stamped t-shirts to painted ornaments
Yeah.
to keychains, all sorts of things, whatever I was into at the time. And I just put them on there. And I remember getting my first order. I was at the amusement park with my friends and kids, and someone bought a t-shirt. And that was so exciting that wasn't a friend or a family member was actually paying me to make
Yeah.
something. And so that was really exciting. And again, it wasn't something that I started to make money off of that it was really it paid for my crafts essentially.
Yeah.
So I didn't promote it heavily or anything. It was just there in the background while I did my normal 8 to 5 job, and just made a little bit of extra money to pour back into my crafting. I started painting Christmas ornaments as gifts for my friends a long time, I mean, 10, 15 years ago, and they were very basic, but I didn't have a lot of money to give away to friends for gifts, and so I thought, yeah, I would just make them something, and they would love
Yeah.
that because it was handmade. I had to name my Etsy shop, and I would look at other people's stores and their shops and stuff, and I knew I wanted it to be kind of all encompassing because I do so many different types of artwork that I didn't want it to just be like, fine art, this or that. So that's how I came up with the studio aspect of things. I like that people had the name studio in their
Yeah.
name. So I started with that. And I love breakfast food. So that just
Same.
naturally just my favorite thing any time of day. If they serve breakfast all day, I'm getting breakfast and I just love it so much. And so I wanted it to be, something people could remember, but it was kind of weird, but memorable. And so I paint is my main thing that I like to do. I love to paint.
Mhm.
So Painted Pancake Studio is what I came up with, and I've kept it that way. So it
Yeah.
has not changed when I first tried to do, I did, my ornament art, I think when I very first started out, but that wasn't with an Etsy shop or anything. But it started that way, and a funny story is when I met my husband, a mutual friend set us up, and we were texting back and forth. We are trying to come up with a lunch date, a dinner date or something, and he's like, "Well, what kind of food do you like?" And I said, "Well, I like breakfast food." And he goes, "Italian it is." And I said and I said, "He's not even gonna listen to me and take me to get some breakfast food or negotiate or anything." He just said, "Italian it is." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm kind of offended, but it's kind of funny, so I guess I'll go." So we went to a little Italian lunch place close to the bank that I worked at, and we had some pizza for lunch. And then our first dinner date, he still took me to Italian, and we went to a different Italian restaurant and we had Italian there. And so when we got married, inside of his jacket, he had embroidered in there "Italian it is" on his coat jacket. So that was a little surprise that he had for me when we got married. And so still laugh about that. But he is
Yeah.
not a breakfast eater. He will if I like it, but he's not a big fan of breakfast food.
Yeah.
But whatever,
Wait,
I've
but
over it.
it's okay. There's a give and take. There I mean, what is there for I'm Italian. Or largely Italian, my family, and I don't know, like, what do we eat for breakfast? Cold cuts, cookies,
He would love that. Yeah.
avocado.
He wants, a meat, he's like, "This is not filling enough, I'm good with eggs and, some bacon," and it's like,
Yeah.
cinnamon, anything sweet, I don't know, but he
Yeah.
wants, steak and eggs, so
Okay, so then you're in Texas, right?
yes.
Isn't there a big breakfast taco scene happening, or is that just, like, solely in Austin? Because I know I experienced when I went there some delicious breakfast tacos.
Would say it's not my breakfast food of choice because there's such a variety of
Yeah.
different breakfast tacos. So people are very um adamant about the kind that they like or the places that they like to get there. So rarely are you going to agree that such and such place has the best tacos.
Okay.
Um they're just not consistent.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other places it's more of like a they call it a burrito, like a breakfast burrito, so they're really
Okay.
kind of weirded out when we have just a bunch of little smaller normal breakfast tacos. Because if you go, you're gonna order like 2 to 3
Yeah.
breakfast tacos, and they're not huge and they're not like fully loaded, but bacon,
Yeah.
egg, and potato, egg, and cheese. But
Yeah.
yes, because we have a lot of Mexican restaurants around here in Texas, you're just going to find a lot of breakfast taco options, but
Mhm.
finding the good ones and the best ones is a challenge.
We
I'm
have
down
delicious burritos
where
here.
yes, I love me a breakfast burrito for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I love breakfast food, but it's just like I don't wanna eat a large breakfast and then, go out and about and do stuff. Like, I wanna go home and take a nap afterwards. So
So much, me too.
I'm like, I can't go eat a large breakfast and then we're on a shopping marathon or we're about to go hiking or I'm in a new place where I don't know where the restrooms are at or anything. So I'm just That's why I like it if they have breakfast for dinner because then I can fill up because most of the time we're gonna go home after dinner and go to sleep or relax. There will be things to make breakfast for dinner in my house no matter what. So that's my default when I don't, know what to make.
I love it. But you know what? Someday they'll come back or they'll tell their kids, "Mom made me breakfast for dinner. It's one of the like best things that she made. It's my favorite thing about her."
Yes.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, so I'm actually really interested. You were saying that you were working for a bank, and I know that you mentioned accounting, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like you have more of like an analytical. You're able to do numbers types of things, and then you've got this artistic side. So talk to me about the two different sides of your brain because that's really interesting to me to have this like super creative brain, but then also be very like numbers driven.
I I think a lot of people that are creative, you will find that they excel in math type fields or numbers. I think it's like the same side of the brain they say that will work with those type of things, and there's like a
Mhm.
correlation there. I fell into finance just by default when I was in college. I had had my first daughter, and I needed to find a decent job, a reputable job, and someone said, well, I got a teller job at the bank and, they pay okay. So I said, well, okay, I'll start putting in some applications there. And so I started working for a credit union. And, back then the pay was okay. It was decent because, they expected you to look nice. You needed to wear bank clothing and stuff. And so I remember, oh my gosh, I don't fit in anything because I had just had my
Ugh,
daughter. She was 2 months old when I needed to go to work part time and supplement her income and go to school. And so I said, I gotta buy new clothes. So
yeah.
I went to Walmart and just tried to find all looking clothes that I could get by until I could fit into things or start building a professional closet because I had just been a kid, a college
Yeah.
student and a high school student. And so yeah, I started working at credit unions and I worked for credit unions as a teller. Then I worked my way up to doing new accounts, doing IRAs, doing auto loans, doing all kinds of different stuff over the course of 10 years that I worked for credit unions. And then,
Wow.
when I left there, I've always worked for banks, but just in different capacities. And so then I went to the mortgage side of things. So I started doing mortgage lending, mortgage processing, and then accounting. So
Okay.
the the college was my first, I guess, non-financial institution job, which was my most recent job, but that's where I went to school and I never graduated. I didn't graduate and get my degree. My most recent I went in 2019 when I was pregnant with my youngest. I went back to school. And
Wow.
then I did a year, I went back to school and that trajectory to graduate, but then I had my daughter and then COVID happened. And so, I thought, oh, I take a semester off and go back to school, but then the world was just crazy. And I was like, forget it, whatever, it's always there. So I didn't go
Yeah.
back, but then I started working for the college and I would walk around campus and I was like, this is so much fun to get paid to be here versus paying to
Mhm.
be here. So, but I keep coming back to this darn school. I've literally been at this school for the past 20 years on and off in different capacities, and I cannot get away from it. I do not want to enroll anymore because every time I am in college and enrolled in college, I have a baby.
Oh,
Because
yeah. No, don't do that. Don't do no more babies.
I decide I'm gonna do something, I'm just gonna change everything. The family
Mhm.
dynamic, this let's go to school, let's do work, let's do it all at one time. So that's people ask me if I'm going back to school because I am so close to actually getting a degree and I don't want to. I'm very
No.
scared, even though my husband has had a vasectomy now and we are done having our children and I'm 40 now. Um, I'm still very scared that there could be an accident and that's just what would happen. And I just don't feel like it would benefit. It would just be a piece of paper that I paid for at this point, honestly. So, and that's,
Mhm.
we're open about that. My husband graduated from the same school. We didn't know each other then, but we graduated, or he graduated. But anyhow, him even being a college graduate and me not, our older kids, we really tell them that it's you wanna know what you're gonna do. Don't just go to go. Don't go for the experience. It's expensive, but go with a plan, and if you have that plan and you know what you wanna do, we will do whatever we need to do to get you there. But my oldest is also, she's so similar to me. I mean, we are 98% the same person. She's 20. I had her when I was 20, and
Wow.
so and I've just been holding my breath because we are the same person, and I know me and I know her, and I have the conversations with her and stuff, and I just like, you want to, be ready to be a parent and everything,
Mhm.
but I feel like she's going to make me a grandmother, for sooner than later, and I'm not ready, and I hate say that to her. I really hate it. But with a 6-year-old, I do not have the mental capacity to be
Mm-mm.
there for you in the way that I want to be. And
Mhm.
so please just wait a little while longer. And so
Mhm.
she are we've been fortunate that there was a bill that was passed when she graduated high school that allowed them to attend the local community college for free and take
Wow.
classes for the next 5 years. And so both she and my now 18-year-old, they could attend for free. And she took advantage of that, but she stopped taking classes this semester because she got a new job at our local grocery store. I don't know if you've heard of HEB, but it's big here
Oh,
in
yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some my stuff back here. Um, they're a fabulous grocery chain. We are diehard HEB people in Texas, and they just do so much great community things. So it's a fabulous company to work for, and she works in their bakery department now. And so she took some time off of school, but she's doing fabulous things. But that's all to say, me and my husband are again, we feel like they have control of their own destiny, and if they wanna go to
Mm.
school, we'll send them to school. If they wanna do a trade, if they wanna do something else. My 18-year-old is planning to join the Army, actually,
Wow.
later this year. So she's in the ROTC program at school, and we've been attending all these award things lately. And so we're really excited for her. And she has a lifeguard job this summer that she did last summer. She's staying
Cool.
busy. And then she has to graduate, do her medical, and then she will be officially enlisted as long as that goes okay.
Wow.
We'll see what
Wow.
happens. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing. So many different, uh, like, points of their lives that I don't know if you feel this, I'm sure you do because 'cause you're in the thick of it, but it's like every once in a while, I get this flashback to my childhood where my kids are right now, and I just it's like the weirdest, you just you're remembering it, you're seeing theirs, you're like, "How is their story being written?" And then, like you said, like, "Please don't make me a grandma. I don't have the capacity, I wanna show up for you
It's so hard not
well."
myself onto her,
Hmm.
but and I try not to, but it's just how it is,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and, it's just, like, obviously, I'm, like, don't want her to feel like she was a mistake, but she wasn't planned.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want her to feel, like her life is like she has a little bit more control into planning her future, and stuff. But it is the oddest feeling to have adult children. I mean, because I feel like I'm 28 still. My body does not say that, but my mind says I'm
Yes.
28. How are
Yes.
y'all catching up to me now? Like we're the same age. Like
First of all,
we're
rude.
like we're the same people. So that's weird that they're just adult children of mine running around. And
Yeah.
I'm just, that is so odd. And I told my 18-year-old, I said, it's it's so hard because she's just 2 years younger than the oldest one. So I felt like I've just done all of this stuff when I just taught that one to drive and now I'm teaching this one to drive. Oh, this one just graduated and now I'm going to all these other things for graduation.
Mhm.
I wanna give her her moment because she's the middle daughter and stuff and,
Mhm.
individual, but I'm like, I feel like I just did all this stuff, but
Yes.
I could have been done with my, job essentially of getting them to this point, but I started over again. And I'm grateful in a sense because I'm like, I'm not done and I still have so much more to experience. And this is not
Mhm.
the end. Get to do this. And so I do get moments of sadness, but I'm like, I still have a little one that's going to go
Yeah.
through all these grades that I get to do and experience again. So there's
Mhm.
a little bit of sadness there, but also I'm like, oh man, like, what would I have done with myself if I were done? What to do? And that's honestly why I started over again because they were like 11 and 13 when I got pregnant with the youngest one. And I was
Mhm.
at the point where I was kind of bored. They were doing their own thing. They were self-sufficient. And I'm like, let's go back to school. Let's get our degree. Let's have another baby at the same time. Like, I'm so bored. What should we do? I know. Let's just have another kid and go back to
Yeah.
school
Let's get
all
a
at the same
dog.
time.
Let's start a
So that's
business.
what I
Let's
did. That's what I did. So, that's why I'm glad I have her because I would be bored and do something crazy like that again. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It is an odd
Yeah.
feeling. It's so
That's
odd.
amazing. Yeah, we have those same conversations with our girls, not necessarily about college, but more, I mean, because they're still tiny, but it's like, we were told in our generation, our moms and dads told us it's high school, college, get a degree, and then you'll get a good job. And I just, I don't know if I believe that anymore. And just watching the way that our world is developing and what is out there, and there's so much space for creativity, and we are quite literally teaching our children to grow up and prepare for this world that does not exist yet. Like, that's how fast our world is developing. And so I think about it and I tell them, we look at different, if we're watching a show or we're out and about in the world, I try and point out different things like, look, that's that person's job. Or, we go to Disneyland and we're walking through Star Wars land and somebody got to design this. It came out of their brain and they're an artist, or. So just trying to expose them to those different things, but then also trying to figure out and just like wrap my brain around how am I going to react, or how am I going to handle that when they pick something different than college when I've just been prepping them this whole time? How do I support that? Because I don't know what that was like. That wasn't what it was like for me. It was like go to college, get your degree, get a good job. Um, I want to jump back quickly to what you were saying about not fitting in your clothes and getting a job and like Walmart. Oh my gosh, I feel that so much. I with my second was teaching kindergarten. I was pregnant with her, just found out, and it was a couple months before the end of school. And I was working part-time, AM kindergarten. And I remember thinking, like, my husband and I had this hard conversation of like, we need to get more income and you need benefits. And then I was like, yeah, you're right. So I wasn't past like the safe point yet necessarily, but was interviewing for jobs, made a completely different switch from teaching to into tech and account management. Um, and I remember doing the same exact thing. I think I went to Target, TJ Maxx, Walmart. I slapped together some kind of outfit that did not make me look pregnant because I was very aware of it, but nobody else would have known. And I remember sitting in my interview sweating, just that hormonal sweat. I do my artist. I'm like, I'm glad I chose a dark shirt.
Yeah.
And
On
it's
a
a
leap
lot.
or when I went back to work at 2 months, and I
Yeah.
remember in training, I'm like, I need to express this out so
Yes.
bad, and I got home and, oh, stuff was just spraying everywhere. I was like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my this day away from my baby." Like, oh, no. It was an
Yes,
adjustment for sure.
it is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember too in that interview thinking, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna know I'm pregnant, and what's gonna happen if, when this baby progresses and everything's and God willing, everything's okay, that they find out that I'm pregnant." And then I just was like, it's one of those sacrifices that you have to make as a mom. Legally, I don't have to tell you. I feel
Yeah.
bad as a person not telling you, but at the same time, like, I'm qualified for this job. I know I can do it. I just happen to be pregnant and I'll be here for a while. And then I remember training too. Now that you say it, I was falling asleep during training at some points because I was so tired raising a toddler. At 2 years
Mhm.
old, my oldest are 2 years apart, just like yours, raising a toddler, not getting sleep, being pregnant, and learning new information, it was just like, I'm out." I was so tired.
Yeah. I don't know how I did it really
Yeah.
young.
Yes.
That's got through it. That's it.
Yes. I think it's the age, right? You're young, you can do it.
Being pregnant at 20 and 22 versus 32, completely different because at this last one, I couldn't finish putting on my makeup without needing to sit. I couldn't finish showering without needing to sit in a shower chair. Or I makeup or my hair, one or the other, and I would have to take a nap. Just I'd leave and lay down on the bed. I was exhausted. And I'm like, that's not that old. Like 32 is not, I'm not a geriatric mother at that point, but it felt that way when I also think back to like how I was made to feel when I had kids at 20 and 22. You would have thought I was a 16 and pregnant person the way
Oh, yeah.
people.
Oh, teen mom for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, I was 20, I was a grown ass adult, and I'm a younger adult, but I was treated that way at that time that I was so weird that had these kids and I was so young, let alone 2 of them. And then at 32 having another kid, they're like, "Oh, like, are you a little old to be having kids and stuff?" And I got both ends of it. I was like, there was no pleasing anybody, so I'm like, "Just do you at this point
Uh,
because someone's gonna judge one way or
yes.
another." So,
Yes.
I'm like,
I know. Those interactions are so horrible, but then I think about and it sounds like you're adopting this same kind of mindset where it's like, "You do you." Like, I'm not gonna judge you if you co-sleep or if your kids sleep in their bed from day 1. I'm not gonna judge you what you put in your kid's mouth as long as they're fed. Like, I just don't. You
just
do
trying to
you,
survive.
boo. I
Yeah, we're all just trying to survive at this
I
point, so,
support you. Yes, do what you
yeah.
need to do to get those babies grown.
Mhm. We're getting
Keep
by.
them safe. All right, let's talk about your business and like content creation. How does content creation, do you feel like it comes naturally to you? Do you feel like that's something that is like easy? Was it like an acquired skill that like is it something that is hard for you to like bring yourself to? You seem very natural on all of your reels and TikToks and things. Like what is that like for you?
I learned really quickly it didn't come natural, but what does come natural is breaking down the barriers and feeling like you have to only hit record when you're 100% ready or
Yeah.
presentable. And
Yeah.
that's just not me, and I learned that I was never going to make content if I had to wake up and get ready to make it
Uh,
or think about making it. And I do,
uh,
I go to bed at night and I get ideas and stuff like
uh-huh,
that, but the next day I might not feel like doing that or
uh-huh.
getting ready for it. And in my head, I think, "Oh, I have this to present. I should really dress up and dress the part and put on the makeup and my hair, and I could really look good in this video." And
Uh-huh.
that's just not how I like to spend my time, and because I work from home, because I have kids, and because I just get dirty all day long with painting, 1, my hair looks like this 90% of the time because I need it out of my face when I'm
Yeah.
doing my work. I need it out of my face. My
Mhm.
clothes have paint on them. I always think like, "Oh, I'm just gonna throw this on to run my kid to school real fast, and then I can change and get ready when I get
Uh-huh.
back." Mm. It
Uh-uh.
never ever happens that way. Whatever I'm putting on in the morning is what is staying on me the rest of the day,
Yep.
unless maybe I go to the gym, and even then, it's kinda bad because I will just, "Oh, I'll do this in a little bit. Let me do this." I am all over the place. I am
Mhm.
very much a squirrel, like, "Oh, I gotta do this, do a little bit of that, do." I don't stop, and so I will just
Yeah.
randomly get I feel like I have so much knowledge to share with
Uh-huh.
people, and I get excited about it that I'll just turn the camera on and say
Uh-huh.
something, onto something, get the idea, and there are days where I'm just super duper chatty in my own head and to people on the I'm very introverted in the
Yeah.
real world unless I know you.
Yeah.
Um, like, I don't go out of my way to just chat with people, but once I know you or we're working together, you're not gonna stop hearing me talk.
I love that.
I go into new jobs and I tell myself, "Desiree, they do not need to know everything about your life. Keep it private. Just be professional." No, you're gonna know my grandma, my mama, everybody, and my whole life story. And that's why I told you I'm an open book. I will share
Yeah.
anything. And so when I did share my artwork, social media was a very slow thing. And I've always been excited to share the work that I create, but never in a sense to where it was the goal to sell it or the goal to get views. I just want to share it with them and hopefully they like it. And then I just really gained traction. I'm a huge believer in thinking that stuff will always it'll always come. I don't plan it.
Mhm.
It'll come when it needs to come. My husband is always thinking 10 moves ahead of things falling into place, and I can't think that far. I'm
Yeah.
one day at a time kind of
Yes.
person, and I'm also like a type B where I'm just like, I don't know where money's coming from, but it's gonna come
Yep.
from somewhere,
Yep.
and it'll be there when I need it. And that's just how I live, and it's worked out for me, luckily, and I'm not rich by any means, but like I mentioned, my oldest daughter, it was college time. I don't have a college fund for her. I had her when I was 20 years old, okay?
Mhm.
Did I have
Mhm.
time to save? I'm sorry. I thought the years would go by a lot slower. They don't.
They don't.
Newsflash, they don't. So then it was just so odd that free college was announced right when
Oh,
she was about to graduate.
that's
And it's things like
amazing.
that. I'm just like, okay, every time I get scared about something,
Yeah.
something gets handed to us. And yeah, I'm not a very religious person, but I think God will provide when, when you need it. And so um, it's just that example, and so that's how my social media has been. It's been where, like I said, I quit my job. I didn't think, "Oh, I'm gonna be a social media star, and I'm gonna make all this money on social media." I just was already doing it. I make my artwork. My artwork, I mean, this is why there's not a lot of artists out there, is there's people that they're not gonna pay for your artwork. They can't pay for it, they don't have the luxury, or they don't see the value behind it because they can go get that at Hobby Lobby for 20 bucks. They're
Mhm.
not gonna spend $200 on your painting that you did. And there
Mhm.
are some people out there, and that's really where I've been fortunate, is that I do have a few good clients that have been repeat clients that really have made me feel like I could do this and have
Mhm.
believed in me. And that's pushed me to keep making art. And so I just can think of a handful of them that have really just inspired me to keep creating. And so I would share my artwork in my neighborhood on my Facebook page. And I would, I'd have someone that would actually love it and paid to have my artwork in their house. And that
Yeah.
was exciting. Or even just a Christmas ornament. Someone would
Yeah.
buy that. I'm like, they're hanging that on their tree every single year. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
do a lot of forward facing content. I would just strictly film my artwork and all the different things that I'm doing in my daily life, throwing anything that would stick on there, trying to grow my
Mhm.
accounts
Mhm.
so that people could see my artwork and want that. But then I learned it kinda took a shift in the last year when I've been doing my foam board art,
Yeah.
for my own yard. I started that during COVID, when people really just needed a pick me up. I got really
Mhm.
into Halloween, decorating groups on Facebook, and they were making
Mhm.
amazing things and tombstones out of foam board, and I just thought, "I could do that." So that's
Yeah.
how I started, and I've been doing it for 6 years now, but no one
Wow.
no one cared, and then all of a sudden this past year, people cared, and they
Yeah.
started asking me questions about it
Yeah.
and wanted to know more, and I was happy to share because I just make these for my own yard, my
Yeah.
own personal use, and to bring smile to people in my community, and like I said, I was just working full time and doing this for myself, so I don't make them to sell. They're a work of passion, a labor
Mhm.
of love, and so much time and effort goes into them that someone's like, "Well, how much do you," they wanna make a business out of it. "How much do you sell them for?" You can do that, but I'm like, the amount of time I have in this hot dog back here, no one's gonna want to pay me for that, especially when they know it's foam board, because I spend so much of my time convincing people that it is durable, that it
Yeah.
lasts.
Yeah.
You can use it for multiple years, and nothing's gonna happen to it. People, "Oh my gosh, doesn't the paint wash off? Doesn't it break down?" Though I and so I can't get mad because these people are driving engagement
Yeah.
to my content, and
Totally.
but I was so impressed with you, for instance, because I put all my information out there. The information is there. People just will refuse to do any kind of research, uh, minimum research to get the answers that
Yeah.
I put, and all of the information is out there. So I even told my daughter, I was like, she did her research. She knows more about me than I know about me. And these are great questions, and she really got a good overview of who I am. So I'm proud of myself for that, but I'm proud of
Yeah.
you for being able.
Cute.
So I'm just like, people will not. I'm like, I didn't just make one video. If you just click my page, all of the information is there. All the
Yeah.
details are there. And if you can't find it, then you can ask me. But again,
Yeah.
can't bite the
Yeah.
hand that feeds me because people are, they have questions, and that has really just it just really the foam board art has blown up. And it was TikTok
Yeah.
first that I really started getting some momentum on there. And my goal was like a lot of people like, oh, I want to get 10,000 followers. Like they think
Yeah.
that's the magic number. And I got 10,000 followers, but that really opened the gate to being able to offer the TikTok shop products. And I got successful doing that because these don't make themselves. I actually use paint. I actually use products, and I was sharing the stuff that I actually use. So I don't
Mhm.
feel stealthy by any means because
Mhm.
people are just asking me about the stuff I'm already using.
Yeah.
And I'm telling people about these
Yeah.
brands because I actually like them and believe in them, and they're buying them, and I get a
Mhm.
little cut of. And
Yeah.
so that I started seeing a lot more traction with that and getting a little bit of monetization and growth in my account through the TikTok shop. So I knew that would plateau eventually. I'm like, so only so many people are going to be interested, blah blah blah. I will, plateaued, and it did, and that was really only recently. But then as soon as that started slowing down, my Facebook picked up, and I've been doing them both simultaneously. So my Facebook picked up very quickly after a viral video back in December. And I post that on TikTok, I just posted on Facebook. You just never know which one of those is just going to really pop off. And that one did so well, like 2.9 million people I think have seen it. And
Wow.
a lot of negative stuff, and that's what drove it because, again, it was people that are like, "Oh, one gust of wind, that will never last. Ugh, foam board." Just so much,
Boo! Boo the haters.
so many they hate to see a successful person doing
Yes.
something, and it doesn't bother me too much because, 1, I do it for myself, and I'm confident because I know it does work because I do it. But so when people are saying that it doesn't work or it's gonna blow away, well, I'm like, "Well, you're doing something wrong because
Yeah.
it does work." But that got me so many new followers, and now I have doubled my Facebook people on top of TikTok. I'm more successful on Facebook than TikTok, and now just
Wow.
Instagram has started picking up, and that has been the slowest paced one. But I did them all pretty simultaneously, but I do think that they have a different audience.
Mhm.
I was hesitant about the Facebook community because there are a lot of older generational people there, and they
Yeah.
don't have filters. They are just saying. Um, but
You're so right, though. It's like Facebook is such a different audience than TikTok is a different audience than Instagram is a different audience than YouTube. I'm looking at putting my stuff on YouTube going like, and that's what stops me too, because it's always like these weird like, "Ah!" like video, like the whatever caption photo, and it's like a tile, whatever you wanna call it, but if it's like that, and then you have to format it for this for Instagram, and then this for TikTok, and I think that's what hinders a lot of creators.
yes.
But and then you're right, you go on Facebook and it's like someone's grandma's like, "That's lame, I don't like that," and you're like, "Ooh, you seem fun."
No, it will it is a comment that does not need to be made, absolutely has nothing to add value to the content whatsoever, or I'm saying things like, "Run to Lowe's, get this paver to paint," and then someone's like, "Where do I get them?" And I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Did you watch or listen to anything at all on here?" So it's hard it's hard not to get frustrated with it because I'm being successful with it, but it's dealing with I so many people. I really deal with a large variety. There's so many people that they need their hand held through
Mm.
every piece of information. And so I try to teach in a way that everyone can understand
Mhm.
and break it down where someone more experienced might be like, duh, that's so obvious. And I've gotten those comments like, thanks for showing us this foam board at the store, like, cool. And I'm like, you don't know how many people ask me where to get which one to buy, like, that I need to go shopping with them to just make the purchase. And I'm the
Yeah.
opposite. Like, I can see one little clip immediately, it's in here, I'm inspired,
Mhm.
and context clues that I use some critical thinking and think, "Oh, I need to buy this kind because that's what I saw them use." And I just really learned that I found more passion in teaching people how I do this versus trying to sell it because I can't do
Yeah.
both. I don't
Yeah.
have the time, energy, and bandwidth to do
Yeah.
both. And I love that people that do want to try to make this a business. I think a lot of the banner paper people started following me and they think
Mhm.
that they can add foam board art to their packages and stuff.
Hmm.
And well, how much do you sell these for? How do you price them? This and that. And I'm like, I don't. I can only deal with the amount of questions, like I explained, that I get online because it's a whole nother breed when you're trying to sell artwork to people
Mhm.
and ghost you. You spent
Mhm.
time mocking things up. You
Mhm.
negotiated your prices. You
Yeah.
the time to promote it and then they just don't want to pay you what it's worth. And that's exhausting too. Like and turning it into a business is a lot of work in itself. So I can't do both. I can either not be online, make a lot of artwork and try to sell it at craft fairs and things like that,
Mhm.
or I can just make it for myself, my friends and family, and
Mhm.
monetize it online.
Mhm.
And that's where I get to share it. And I can keep doing it because I have gotten a little bit of monetization from
Yeah.
sharing my videos and my
Yep.
products that I use. So I have an Amazon storefront with everything that I use. I have TikTok revenue, I have Facebook revenue, and that's what keeps me going, honestly, and being able to share all of my artwork and
Yeah.
not, worry that someone's copying me because I just do it for myself. And
Yeah.
mostly I get a lot of people too that are like, "Well, aren't you so scared of copyrights, things like that?" I try to do more unique things. I don't wanna just go and there's certain things though, like I do Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was
Yeah,
my
it's so
phone
cute.
from 3 years ago that I've been building on, and most of the time, I don't like to do the same themes, but because I put so much work into it, I've just been building on it for the last 3 years at Christmas time, and that there's a weird loophole with that one, and that when they did try to copyright it, something with the naming wasn't filed correctly. So anyways, I'm not 100% covered, but I don't sell it. I don't sell it,
There
and
you
that's
go.
that's
It's for personal use.
it's for personal use. I do share it online and on monetize, so I think that's the gray area,
Mm.
but that's why I tell people I don't sell them. It's not a business for me. They're handmade. I'm not out there just printing these off with a laser and, selling them mass. I have not had any problems or trouble. And matter of factly, Whataburger, I love Whataburger. They're big in Texas. They've expanded in other states here in the last few years when they sold. But so more people are getting involved with them. But I painted a Whataburger painting just for fun a few years ago because I was inspired by a photo that I actually took and then painted on canvas. And Whataburger reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we pay you to put this on our Instagram?" I said, "You're gonna pay me to promote my artwork?" "Yeah, will you just sign
I
this
love
and
that.
we're gonna put it on our Instagram. We have a Whataburger Museum of Art." I said, "Oh, for sure, send me the stuff." And so that was exciting in itself. Then, like
Yes.
2 later, I posted it really cheaply in my neighborhood, and people loved it, but they didn't wanna buy it. Again, no one wants to buy it. They bought it from for my Etsy shop full price and shipped it to them. Their marketing headquarters is in Austin, which I'm not far from.
Yeah.
And they bought my original artwork as well. I didn't know what they were gonna do with it. I'm like, "Is this in the CEO's office? I don't know what they're doing with it. Whatever, but y'all can have it. Cool."
Yeah.
They paid me for it. Well, then they said, "Hey, we're doing a pop-up Whataburger Museum of Art. downtown in Austin during South by Southwest, which is a huge like
Yeah.
film exhibit thing that we have every
Yeah.
year. We're gonna have all these Whataburger artists, and you're invited to come. So cool. I was like, okay. So my painting was in this pop up museum. It's this wine building that they have right downtown.
Oh,
There's all these Whataburger works of art there, and not only that, but they blew up my painting, and it was plastered on the front of the building, along with a couple of others. So it was like
Desiree!
on the front of the building, and they paid me all for this, and that was my artwork on a building that everyone was seeing, and so that was so exciting, and I
Yeah.
really wish more brands would recognize fan art like Whataburger does, and that's where I think, like, people get confused as far as, yes, like, Disney is very much copyrighted. People
Mhm.
doing Disney stuff, they're huge apparently about shutting people down. I haven't had any problems. I like to recognize brands that I actually like and
Mhm.
use,
Mhm.
and that's free promotion and advertisement for them. So why
Mhm.
would they be mad about that? As long as you're using
Totally.
positive manner, I don't
Yeah.
see how brands could be mad about that. Character
Yeah.
license is a whole nother thing. But that's why, like this year, I'm doing Hansel and Gretel theme for Halloween. That is a
Cool.
fairy tale oldest time that can be interpreted in so many different ways. So I've been working on making original type artwork for that so that people don't come for me. But dang, you would think that there's people on the internet that work for these companies who get so offended that you are using copyrighted stuff. And I can say that I don't wanna I need to knock on some wood, but nothing has come of it. I have not had any problems. I have reached out to other artists that are way more visible than I am, who do things like that and have also said the same thing. Like, they have been fine. People
Yeah.
just wanna crash the party
Yep.
and poop on anything that's exciting, so I
Mhm.
just have to overlook that stuff.
Oh my gosh, I am hoping that you get some major brand deals like HEB, and I mean, you could like think about because I love watching your videos. My daughter actually said to me the other day, because I was showing her, I said, "Look at how amazing this is." She has like this cutter and she like goes around it, isn't it? She goes, and before I could even it could even come out of my mouth, she goes, "Wow, that's so satisfying to like watch you cut
Yeah.
in the boards." And I'm like envisioning you getting like a even like a like Neutrogena or like a ATV or something where you're like, "Just come with me to make a yard thing for," like you're just doing your whole day in the life thing. I love that. I'm putting it into existence for you.
Yeah. I try to incorporate more I love Dr. Pepper, so I've done a Dr. Pepper one and
Yeah,
things like nothing has come about as much as Whataburger, but you just
yeah,
never know. So it's just stuff,
yeah.
again, I already like and use and are passionate about. So I just I say in my videos, I like, "You can't get me to do stuff that I don't want to do, but you can't stop me from doing things that I want to do."
I love
It's
that.
true. I have not painted today. I said it's been a very calm day, but I there really are not very many days that I don't paint because I never have a shortage of ideas.
Yeah,
They're so far backlogged that I can't get to enough of my idea, and that makes me so anxious that I cannot crank out enough things that I
yeah,
want even doing this kind of, full time now, I thought I could really just get burnt out or run out of things to talk about. And I have not. I just, like I said, some days I'm just putting out videos just to put out because I have so much to share and
yeah,
information. And I will tell anybody that will listen how I do it and why I do it. And I don't mind all the questions. I joke about it and stuff. It's just I answer a lot of repeat questions, but I have peace and quiet. I sit down and I just answer questions in the morning when I'm eating breakfast and throughout the day I'm pretty available and people do recognize that.
yeah.
They recognize that I take the time to answer questions and connect with them and it keeps me going that
Mhm,
if I just inspire somebody to create something then
mhm,
I'm totally okay that you use my same design. I don't care. I don't care
mhm.
at all. And it slowed down a little bit, but when I was gaining traction very quickly, I got messages multiple times a week from women that would say, "Thank you so much. I was in a funk and I picked up this
Mm.
craft and it has really helped me with my depression
Oh,
and
man.
grateful that I saw your page and that I found something that ignites a spark in me again. And I'm very
I love that.
so that was really motivating to keep recording because it is work to sit there. I could
Yeah.
just sit in peace and listen to my audiobook and not worry about
Mhm.
getting the capturing everything, and
Mhm.
I've gotten used to it, but it's work still to
Yeah.
film everything, to put it
Yep.
together, to edit, to post it to all the different platforms. I spent a lot of my day doing that versus actually creating. And so that's
Mhm.
why I don't have abundance of things to sell because I'm just showing you how to do it yourself. But people are
Yes.
like, do you see these? Where can I find? It's a
Yes.
DIY, not
Yeah.
DIY, not do it for you. You got to do it yourself. So I saw another lady say that. She's like, "I am telling y'all how to DIY, not DISY. So you just have to do it yourself." So I really need to lead with that in my bio so that
Yeah.
people know that I'm just showing you
I
how
love
you
that.
can do it.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? This totally happened, like, it was by happenstance. I was in a group chat with a couple of the moms at my school. They're trying to convince me to do, what's like a hospitality role, which is just like, we have a public school nearby our kids go to, and the hospitality would be like, community events, bringing people in. But I also have a very creative mind, and I love painting, and which is what drew me to you. But, um and crafting and all of that. But something that's really, like, stuck in my mind is there's, like, these really cool planter areas that just need to have life, like, breathed back into them. And so we're talking, and she was talking about, Mother's Day, and she sends a screenshot, I'm not kidding you, of your cute little scallop brick and says, "I'm painting this for my mom for Mother's Day." And I was like, "You're gonna lose your mind when you hear that I am gonna talk to Desiree tomorrow, the actual creator of this."
Yes.
So then we were like fangirling about that, but then we were looking at, I was looking at the cool video that you posted about the 2 bricks that you put, like, up and down to make a butterfly, and then also the very hungry caterpillar, and was saying, like, "We should put those, like, we should have the kids help us," and trying to think about how the families and kids can all get involved, and we were like, "We should make those from it that," that she shows us how to do it in the videos, and you do a really good job of teaching how to use it and, like, supplies and all of that, so I'm like, I'm going back, I bookmarked it, I'm going back to those when we revamp the garden and we bring new life to it. I'm gonna take a video of it, and we're gonna show how it made it, and we're gonna tag you
Yeah.
and send it over to you. But, it is very
And
inspiring.
oh, and I love that someone said that too. They're like, "I went to send this to somebody, and then I realized it was you that posted it." And I was like, "Oh, cool." Because I'm not always showing my face in the videos, and I try to be better about that, but I definitely am looking like the artist mom life most of the time. But I can take full credit. I obviously there's that's why I say copy my ideas, do my ideas. I see things that inspire me. One of my good clients that I mentioned that I have who lived in my neighborhood, she keeps me very busy because she will send me stuff like that and say she's not crafty. So she's like, "Hey, can you make this for my kids?" And I'm like, "Girl, yes, like I'll paint it for
Mhm.
you. To paint me some rocks, paint me the hungry caterpillar." I did it, and it was, her that told me to do it, and I just filmed my process, and it just happened to take off, and that's how
Mhm.
I got to painting those things because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, that was fun." I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. I found that enjoyable. I wanna do
Mhm.
more, so I started doing more things that she didn't request that I just made for myself and just sharing more because that people were interested in it, so I started doing more of those. But yeah, that's like I'm saying, she moved to Lubbock and I have to mail things. That's 6 hours from me, by the way, in Texas. And I have to mail bricks to her. Like, "Girl, if you pay for that, like, I'll make it, but I'm literally mailing you rocks and bricks," because that's just not her thing, Like,
Yes, but she'll
listen,
pay
she's
for it
not
because she sees
crafty,
the value.
but
Yes.
she wants it. That's what I
Yes.
love. I have a handful of clients that do see the value and still having handmade things
Yes.
that she is still sourcing from me 6 hours away, even though she moved out of my neighborhood. So I do a lot of work for her, and I'm so glad that she's kept me on, making things, and uh, she just keeps me busy. So I'm like, she always comes up with ideas and was like, "Can you do this for me? Can you do that?" And then I just film it. And so, I'll get those kind of, and I don't mind clients like that because she's just so easy to work with, and but she's rare. she,
Yeah.
she's she's rare. Most people are not going to see the value in a painting bricks for them and the cost in so I love that, and I so it's a great mutual relationship. So finding somebody like that is very special. But I
Yeah.
just that's what I hope to do is just inspire other people to make things, and that they feel like they want to go and make something themselves or do it with a friend or a family member, something that everyone overthinks it. But I'm like, you can totally
Mhm.
do this. So easy.
Mhm.
Like you have to start
Mhm.
somewhere. Just practice.
Yeah.
I
Just
get
try.
didn't get
Yeah.
good overnight at it. I'm self-taught.
Yes.
Self-taught
Mhm.
artist. If you see what my ornaments look like, 10 years ago versus today, even my close friends who will get them from me for Christmas still, there's such a difference between 3 years ago and the previous years that they hang on their trees and they see just how my style has changed. And you're
Yeah.
not born with a style, it finds you. And I like seeing people's own characteristics into things where everyone's just doing vinyl prints and it all looks the
Mhm.
same. And I'm like,
Mhm.
"No, I want you to try it out and you do your own handwriting and your own colors and stuff." So,
Mhm. And I
hopefully
think, I mean, the fact that you're willing to be brave helps, or and courageous and scared at the same time, right? Because content creation is scary and trying something new is scary. But when you do that and you show other people that you're doing that and you actually show yourself trying, there's such beautiful vulnerability in that that gives people the strength to try that, gives them strength to pull themselves out of the rut that they're in, or to ignite a spark in them again to feel alive again, right? Just to feel like, oh, I do have that creative part of me.
that's why I come on the internet looking however I look that day also because
Yeah.
I want people and I don't get recognized or anything. People in my neighborhood don't care that I have 100,000 followers on Facebook. They don't give a crap. If they treat me normal, they don't care at all.
Yeah.
But, I want people to know that I'm not fake online. What you see in person and what you're seeing online, they're pretty much the same people. I don't put on a show. It's not an act. I don't have energy for it. I share
Mhm.
with my subscribers on Facebook my behind the scenes, just things how they naturally are. I don't clean up my studio. It's messy. And so I really share that too, and also to make people feel okay that they can, come online in a more vulnerable looking
Mhm.
situation where your house
Mhm.
doesn't have to be perfect. My yard I do yard art literally for
Mhm.
my whole platform, and my
Mhm.
yard is terrible. Like, I it's a work in progress. Live in Texas,
Sure.
a piece of work, and it's not even a
Yeah.
large, like, yard that I have, but I'm constantly working on it because it is a mess, and I'm like, "How can I stage these to look better?" But I'm like, "Whatever, just," not everybody has perfect landscaped yards, so we're
Mhm.
just gonna roll with it. But I have been borrowing my neighbor's yard for some of my brick videos because he works very hard on the front, and it's his, like, front yard around, like, the curb
That's so
area
sweet.
that is out there just constantly maintaining that he started a couple of years ago, and it's, like, in full bloom right now, so I'm like,
Oh,
over there." So I go with my brick, and I'm like, "Did he leave? Let me go over there and film." Gotta look my daughter plays with his daughter that's, like, 8 years old, so they run around together, so I don't feel too
yeah.
bad, but my daughter called me out the other day because his daughter was at my house, and I said, "Hey, do you think I can go and, like, do a little video of my little thing I'm painting right here, my little grandma brick sign?" And she goes, "Yeah, I don't think he'd have a problem with that," even though I had been doing it already, and walked out with my daughter, and my daughter goes, "Yeah, she's already been doing that," and my husband
She outed
asked me she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Never mind. See you later, guy bye, guys." She called me out. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So,
Don't forget to
and I'm
grab a
not doing
popsicle on the way
it
out.
wrong. It's, like, at the curb, like, but I am totally using his house for content, and I, like, haven't exactly asked him permission, but it just plants, so his yard looks a lot better than mine. So, trying, though. I'm trying.
I love it. Okay, I'm sure you have things to get to and your peaceful day. Do you wanna do a quick lightning round and then we'll wrap it up?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I didn't really look at those because I wanted to be, like, authentic, so
Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll do it quick, just whatever comes to mind first. Um, Paintbrush or palette knife?
paintbrush.
Hobby Lobby run or Lowe's run?
Ooh, Lowe's.
Okay. Halloween or Christmas?
Halloween.
Teaching or making?
I love to teach.
Yeah, I can tell. One supply you couldn't live without?
My phone board, I
Yeah,
need that. Yeah.
yeah. All right. I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of Maysember, having 3 kids, school events, end of year chaos, mom duties, running a business. How do you survive it? What's, like, one thing that comes to mind of surviving Maysember?
Um, Coffee and Dr. Pepper.
Hell
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Craft room, organized chaos or perfectly labeled bins?
Oh, organized chaos.
Yeah. Which of your kids is most likely to take over Painted Pancake Studio someday?
My oldest daughter, Emma.
Mhm. 'Cause she's just like you're saying. Do your daughters give you honest critiques of your work, or are they just being nice?
They are very nice, but I feel like they have genuine reactions and they are very supportive, especially the 6-year-old. She is very proud to have an artist mom and
Oh,
hypes me big time.
I
So she makes
love
me
that.
feel like
Yeah, and you know that that's genuine because she hasn't learned that yet. She hasn't learned
yeah,
to appease people.
exactly. Exactly.
Um, all right, art class mom or I'll bring the store-bought cupcakes mom?
Oh, you would think it would be art, but I'm just bringing the store-bought cupcakes. That's right up my alley there.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
telling you, as a working mom, if I can find the time to go in and help with art projects, I'll be there. But
yeah.
I am the first to sign up for napkins.
Paper
Napkins
plates,
and
now
disposable plates,
paper
I'm in.
cups, utensils, that's where I'm at for sure. The
Yes,
easiest.
yes. All right, we didn't really touch on this too much, but you have a dog. Has your dog ever destroyed any of your projects?
He has walked through pink paint that I had on the floor, and there were pink paws. He's a huge dog, by the way. Huge pink paws all downstairs, and then he went on his bed, and there's still pink paws on his bed. That was a couple years ago.
Oh, I mean, I would leave the pink paws too, but I'd be so pissed about this.
Yeah, he decorated his little raised bed, and luckily we have wood floors, so it came up very easily. My studio looks a mess, but the paint does come off of the wood floors. I just don't take the time to do it because it just comes back on there. And I'm so
Yeah.
fortunate that and does not give me any grief about it whatsoever. He is so supportive. He
Yeah.
just doesn't complain.
Yeah, and it adds a little whimsy, right?
It does. Yeah,
What is life without whimsy?
exactly.
All right,
Extra color.
studio time after bedtime or early mornings before everyone wakes up?
Early mornings are my jam.
Yeah. Um, have your kids ever tried to help with a project, um, and made it way worse?
Not that I can think of, but surely they have. But they're good helpers. They're good
Yeah,
helpers. It just some patience. A
yeah,
paint could if it's painting, it can all be fixed.
of
So
course. Yeah,
I let
that's
them
true.
me. Yeah, I can fix it.
Yeah. All right, this is a very polarizing topic amongst teachers, janitors, mothers, and even fathers in our house. It's a very polarizing topic. Glitter, necessary evil or banned substance in your house?
My husband hates it so much that it was he told his family, "Don't be getting us no glitter gift bags." He wears a uniform for work, so he's very conscious about that. It's gonna get glitter on my uniforms. I hate glitter, blah, blah, blah. We have 3 girls, and one of them is wearing a prom dress that I've been steaming, and all the glitter, gold glitter is, like, falling off of it. I'm like, "Oh, no." But then I also recently started learning how to glitter my foam board art, so I did a little bit with
Ooh,
and I started in the garage because 'cause I'm like, it'll just stay out there," but then I was like, "F it, like, I'm just doing it in the studio. I don't care. I'll clean it up."
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just he hasn't said anything. I think he just finally just realized it's gonna happen. It just
yep,
is what it is at this point, so
yeah.
I've embraced it. I think he's starting to embrace it.
Love it. I personally love glitter. Yeah, yeah, and yes, just like you said, 3 girls, like, it's impossible, and I always encourage them to be creative and do art and whatever they wanna do, and, of course, cleaning it up after. But my husband will go on these binges every once in a while and throw it all away, and so I hide glitter sometimes. Or I go buy more. Like I made my daughter a fairy kit for Christmas, my 4-year-old, and it had glitter in it. And every once in a while he'll say, "How did this get back in?" I'm like, I don't
He
know. It's so weird.
for glitter and didn't say anything, fortunately. So like I said, I think he's just learned to just go with it. He's just
Yeah,
going with it now. He didn't question me. I was
exactly.
surprised. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess we're okay. We got the green light.
I love it. I love it. Well, Desiree, thank you so much. This was such a fun conversation. It's really good to get to know you. I love your what you're doing online. Please do more of it. We need more of that in the world. More creativity, positivity, and just freedom to be yourself and show up as you are. So, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me today. I know this community is going to love it. Um, and I will make sure to post all of your contact information, your shops so that people can shop, all of your supplies in my show notes. Tell us where we can find you online again.
It's under everything's under
Mhm.
Painted Pancake Studio is pretty much where you
Okay.
can find me. I do have if you go to Facebook and that's your jam, I have a link tree that has all of my information or same thing for TikTok or Instagram. If you just go to my bio, link tree is gonna show you all of my other platforms and shops and everything there.
So lovely. It's really wonderful to chat with you today.
Yeah, it's so fun. I
Awesome.
loved your handle when I saw it because I've been trying to be more engaged on Instagram and grow that. So I've been really trying to take the
Yeah.
time to follow people back
Yeah.
because I want it to be a two-way street and support other people as well. And so want to grab coffee? Yes, I do. Follow.
Thank
I did
you.
the same.